Hi guys, this is Dragonborn 23, my fellow Dragon Slayers, the ultimate Dragon Slayer, Foos Roll Da, aka Dovahkiin. Alright, so today I'm going to talk about how the Dragonborn himself, the role he would play if he left Tamriel and went to Middle Earth. So let's talk about this. With Dovahkiin's power, if he ended up in Middle Earth during the time of the Hobbit, what would happen and how would things change? Well, this is how I feel it would change. First off, he would arrive, he would probably end up meeting Gandalf because he would go searching around looking for information on like a dragon or any bad stuff that's going on, having people pointing him to different directions. And Gandalf, hearing about a strange man walking around asking questions, this is when he would meet Gandalf. And then he would hear the story of how Erebor was taken over by a dragon. So, Dovahkiin would tell Gandalf that he's a dragon slayer, and in his homeland he's killed many dragons and absorbed their powers, and that he can help get Erebor back from the evil dragon. So, not knowing on whether or not this is true, Dovahkiin himself says to Gandalf, I can prove this to you. Allow me to meet with these dwarves and go on this journey with you that you plan on taking them on, and I shall show you the power that is the Dragonborn. So, when this is happening, basically he would go and meet up with Oakenshield and the rest of them, and when that dwarf says, I don't think, and the dwarves are probably like, I don't think you could really kill a dragon, and then when they're on the horse and the dwarf says, Gandalf, can't you do something about this rain? That's when Dovahkiin would look up and he would shout and clear the skies, and the rain would go away, and the dwarves would be looking in awe and saying, how did you do that? And he's like, just like I said I could slay the dragon, I can also command the very skies themselves. And then the dwarves would start realizing that Dovahkiin's more powerful than they thought, but they'd still be skeptical at first. Now, when it comes up to the part where they see the cave trolls, this is where they really see the true power of Dovahkiin, because while they're all captured and lying there and the trolls are about to eat them before Gandalf shows up, Dovahkiin shouts and they just hear this massive rippling through the air in a loud voice, Foos roll da. And then the trolls just end up flying back and they drop Bilbo on the ground, and then you just see Dovahkiin rush up and attack and slit the throat of one troll, throw his sword into the heart of the other. And when he rips that out, he looks into the eyes of the other cave troll and he says, you can either leave or die. When the cave troll attacks him, Dovahkiin dodges the mighty blow from the cave troll's weapon, and then once again he shouts with another powerful voice wielding power of the ancient Nord arts, slamming a fireball straight into the cave troll, setting him ablaze. And while Dovahkiin's standing there roasting this cave troll alive, he's freeing all the Hobbit, Bilbo, and the dwarves at that point all look up at him and say, we should have never doubted you, but a dragon is a completely different ball game compared to a bunch of cave trolls. And Dovahkiin would be like, well, you'll see my power as we go on. After that, Gandalf shows up, and then they go further on to their journey, and that's when they run in to more of those riders, and they end up going to Rivendell to talk to Lord Elrond. As they're going in and talking to Lord Elrond, he meets Dovahkiin, and Dovahkiin sits down and talks with him, and Elrond's like, Gandalf has told me about all you have done so far, You seem like you're a pretty powerful person. Where did you learn these abilities? So Dovahkiin, not wanting to completely dive into his backstory, explains, I was born with the blood of a dragon, and I can speak in the ancient tongue of the beast. And the land that I come from, I'm the ultimate dragon slayer. And then basically after this, what ends up happening is Dovahkiin manages to notice that the dwarves are leaving. Dovahkiin asks Lord Elrond, may I please be excused or leave? And then they're like, yes, sure. And then that's when he leaves to go after the dwarves. And then that's when he basically goes with them. They all fight through those caves. Gandalf shows up, all that good stuff. But where Dovahkiin would completely change the story is because with his overall power, he would pretty much literally be able to turn the tide. Now, one of two things would happen when they come into meeting that bear that's chasing them down, and when they come into seeing the Pale White Orc for the first time. Dovahkiin would do one of two things. He would either stand in between the orcs and the warg riders and the dwarves and the hobbit and the wizard that are on the tree, and saying, if you want to get to them, you have to come through me, or he would be on the tree with them. But it's more than likely that Dovahkiin would choose the latter, and he would attack them, fighting off the warg riders and shouting, and when the Pale White Orc sees his power, he would flee. And then they would further continue on to their journey, and that's when Gandalf would meet with Radagast, find out that stuff, and then that's when he would leave and go and check out that palace to see who this warlock is. Now, Dovahkiin would continue into the woods with the dwarves, and this is also where it changes. Instead of getting thrown into a cage, Dovahkiin meets an audience with the Lord, with Legolas's dad. Forgot his name. Something, I forgot his name, I'm not even going to try to say it, but he speaks with him, and he says, there's valuable jewels that I want. When Oakenshield says no about giving him the jewels, that he's not going to make a deal with the elves, Dovahkiin's like, I'll bring you the jewels. Oakenshield's like, that's not your call. And Dovahkiin be like, well, it is. If I'm going to kill the dragon, then and give you guys back your home, then we're going to do this deal. Basically, allowing them to pass through. Now they have to get to the bard himself. Now before I continue on with the story, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to end it here, my fellow dragon slayers. So if you want to know more, if you want me to continue on with how Dovahkiin would help out in The Hobbit, leave a like on the video. My goal is at least 100 likes. Subscribe, as well as hitting the notification button if you haven't. Leave a comment in the comment section down below on how you think Dovahkiin would change the story of The Hobbit so far. And then I will continue with part 2 in another video later on. Fus roll da. Dragonborn 23, aka Dovahkiin, out.